Do you have black or blue-green spots clinging to your pool that just won't go away no matter what you do? That could be, and probably is, black algae. And it's the toughest, most stubborn algae you're ever gonna deal with. Regular brushing won't budge it, and a normal dose of shock won't kill it either. I'm Matt from Swim University, and you can get rid of black algae. It just takes more muscle and more chlorine than you're normally used to. So here's exactly how to identify black algae and how to kill it for good. First, how do you tell if you have black algae? Well, black algae looks like raised black or blue-green dots, ranging from the size of a pinhead to a quarter. It also isn't even technically algae. It's a bacterium called cyanobacteria. It roots down into the porous surfaces like plaster, gunite, and concrete. And that's why it mostly shows up in plaster pools. It also forms a protective outer layer called biofilm, making it impossible for normal chlorine and cleaning to get rid of it. But are you actually dealing with black algae? It gets mistaken for metal stains all the time. So here's a quick way to test it. You want to scrape a small sample off the spot with your fingernail and smear it on a piece of white paper. If it leaves a greenish streak, that means it's black algae. If it doesn't scrape off easily, or it looks more brownish black, or it doesn't cluster into small raised dots, well, you're probably dealing with a metal stain instead. So you can check out our other video on treating those. Okay, so let's assume that it's black algae. Here's how to kill it. Let me warn you up front that this is gonna take a lot of work. And it usually isn't a one and done job. Black algae has a protective outer layer, and it roots deep into the porous surfaces. So you really need to physically break through that layer first before applying a super concentrated dose of chlorine. Step number one, clean your filter. If you've ever had black algae in your pool, you've probably got it in your filter as well. Backwash your sand filter or your DE filter, or you can rinse your cartridges. We've got a longer video on how to backwash if you're not sure how to do this. I recommend using a filter cleaner or just completely replacing the sand, the DE, or the cartridges if there was a really bad outbreak. Step number two, lower your pH to 7.2. Get your pH down to 7.2 before you start treating the water, because black algae loves high pH water, and lower pH creates an environment where the chlorine can actually work faster. Step number three is to brush every algae spot and crevice really hard. Here's where the hard work is gonna come in. Before you can treat the black algae with chlorine, you're gonna have to physically break the algae's protective coating. Brush each visible algae spot in every corner, step, and shaded area that you can find, and go over each spot multiple times. Don't be discouraged if the black spots don't disappear right away. You're just trying to break things up, not clear things up at this stage. Now, if you have a plaster, gunite, or concrete pool, I recommend using a brush with stainless steel bristles. If you have a vinyl lined pool, a fiberglass pool, or a pebble pool, use a nylon bristle brush instead. Step number four, scrub the spots directly with a chlorine tablet. Now, this is really the most effective way to directly kill black algae spores. You'll be applying the chlorine tablet directly to the algae, but only do this if you have white plaster, gunite, or concrete. Otherwise, this is gonna bleach or discolor vinyl liners and dyed or colored plaster. If you can reach the black algae, put on some gloves, break a 3-inch chlorine tablet in half, and scrub the broken edge of the tablet directly against the algae. This physically breaks up the algae and gets that concentrated dose of chlorine right on the algae spores. For spots that you can't reach by hand, there's a chlorine tablet holder that attaches to your telescopic pole, and then you can scrub that tablet against those spots. Now, the other option is to crush up a broken tablet and then let it sit directly on the algae spot for a few minutes before you scrub it away with a brush. If you're worried about staining, you can use a putty knife, a pumice stone, or a wire brush to physically scrape off the black algae. And that might mean getting in the water and doing this by hand. Some people have talked about blasting the black algae heads with a pressure washer instead of physically scraping them off. If you hold a turbo nozzle really close to the surface, it will technically work, but it can also chip away the plaster, especially if you get too close or use a narrow tip. And it's not that effective underwater, so I wouldn't recommend it. Step number 5 is to superchlorinate your water. Now it's time to blast that loosened up algae with chlorine. Cal hypo, or calcium hypochlorite, is the most powerful shock, especially for concrete, gunite, and plaster pools. So you're gonna need a quadruple dose. That's 4 times the amount of normal shock. So if a normal dose is 1 pound of cal hypo shock for every 10 10,000 gallons of water. That's 4 pounds of Cal Hypo shock for every 10,000 gallons of water. And you want to add this shock at dusk or at night, because if you shock during the day, the sunlight's going to burn off that chlorine before it has a chance to work. Then run your filter for at least 24 hours straight after adding the shock. Your water is probably going to turn cloudy blue during this time, and that's just the dead algae, and your filter will eventually catch it. Step number 6, brush the pool again. I know, more brushing. I told you, this is going to take a lot of work. While the shock is working, brush the algae areas at least 2 to 3 more times. This knocks loose whatever the shock has weakened, and it's going to help the chlorine keep working its way deep into those roots. Keep your brush head in the pool to let the shock sanitize the brush head as well. Step number 7 is to clean your filter again. You want to check your filter while the shock is working. If the pressure rises 10 psi above what it normally runs at, it's getting clogged up with algae and it needs to be cleaned. Hopefully this only happens once during the 24-hour shock treatment, but you may need to clean it multiple times. Again, I'm very sorry. I know this is a lot of work. Step number 8, you want to check for spots and repeat as needed. Check the pool over the next few days. If you see any black spots, repeat this brushing and shocking process. Even a small patch that you missed can regrow into a full bloom. Some outbreaks take several rounds of this before they're completely gone. Step number 9, test and balance the water one last time. Once the black algae is completely gone, you can retest your water and get your pH, your alkalinity, and your chlorine levels back to normal before anyone gets back in that pool. Now, what about Algaecide? Does black Algaecide work? Well, black Algaecides are usually made of copper or silver, and that's technically an effective algaecide. But too much of these metals in the water can cause staining down the road. And like I always say, an algaecide is a better preventative treatment, not an active algae killer. An algaecide can't break through the black algae's protective coating. You're still going to need to brush, scrub, and shock. And you'll need to wait until your chlorine levels drop below 5 parts per million before you even use it. High chlorine is just going to neutralize your algaecide. So I wouldn't reach for the black algaecide to kill this current problem. Finally, how do you keep black algae from coming back? Well, black algae almost always gets into your pool from a natural body of water. That means a lake, a river, or an ocean. So whenever you swim in one of those, I would wash your swimsuits and scrub down any pool toys that you use, any floats that you used with a little diluted bleach before they ever get back into your pool. Now, besides that, it's the same fundamentals that prevents most pool problems. That means keeping your water balanced, running your pump long enough, brushing your pool weekly, and shocking when you notice issues. If black algae has shown up in your pool once, well, unfortunately that means it's prone to coming back. So don't skip the maintenance once these things clear. Once your pool is consistently balanced and clean, then you can use a preventative algae treatment like a mineral dispenser. You can check out our other videos on minerals, ionizers, and algaecides if you want more help. And if keeping your water balance feels like such a challenge, that's okay. We got something for you. Our Pool Care app will help. All you have to do is enter your test results, and it builds you a custom water treatment plan so you know exactly what chemicals to add and how much and how long to wait between each dose. There's a free 7-day trial if you want to see whether it's right for you. You can just find it by going to the App Store and searching Swim University, or you can use any of the links below. And if you're not sure whether you're actually dealing with black algae or you've got a stubborn spot that just won't clear up, you can ask in the comments below and I'll help you figure it out. That's it. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy swimming.